Welcome to Now You Know BC. I'm Bob Kronbauer, also known as BC Bob, and on this show I introduce you to interesting people, places to go, things to see, things that have happened in the past. You will hear our collective stories. This week, I'm telling you some about alcohol. From the fact that there's actually a lowest price for booze set by the government to one of the most interesting dudes you'd ever want to have a beer with. If you're watching this episode on its first run, right now it's 6 o'clock on a Saturday, and I hope you're in your living room or somewhere comfortable enjoying a nice cold beverage of some sort. I'd be with you, but last year I decided to quit drinking for a month and just kind of quit altogether by accident. I didn't go back. Did you know that the lowest price that stores are legally allowed to sell a 6-pack of beer for in BC is $6.38? It's true, $1.06 a can, $1.06 is the lowest legal price, which was set in 2016 when the government introduced a new pricing scheme, which is mostly meant to protect us from ourselves. Like if you could get a beer for 10 cents, would you maybe drink more of it? I know I would. The other prices that were set were $3.75 per liter of cider, $27.88 for a liter of spirits, and $6.44 for a liter of wine. That's $4.83 for a 750 ml bottle of wine. I've never been a big wine drinker, so maybe I haven't looked hard enough, but is there a bottle of $5 wine out there in BC? If you know where I can get one, let me know. Maybe I'll hop off this wagon and I'll do a review of it next season. Yeah, maybe not. I'll stay dry for you. I do this all for you. And speaking of dry, maybe you didn't know that BC had a prohibition period where it was illegal to drink alcohol here, much like it was in the States, but a little bit looser. That is, if you weren't Indigenous, in which case the rules were even more strict. In the 1800s, the Indian Act made it illegal for Indigenous people to consume alcohol in BC. And that was in place until 1951, when they loosened it so they could drink on reserve. It took until 1962 for the government to allow my Indigenous friends to drink where everyone else is allowed to drink. For the non-Indigenous population, like myself, prohibition was in place for a few short years, from 1917 until 1921. But like I said, there were a few exceptions, quite a few exceptions. People weren't allowed to drink unless they got a prescription for alcohol, which cost 50 cents to get, and which hundreds of thousands of people got over the 4-year period that we were a dry province. And while it was sort of illegal to drink, it wasn't at all illegal to produce it for export. So companies were still making booze here throughout Prohibition. One of the richest alcohol company owners in BC was a man named George C. Rifle, who owned a lot of other stuff, including the Commodore Ballroom. You might know him from the game preserve that's named after him, the George C. Rifle Bird Sanctuary out in Delta. His family were huge duck hunters. They donated a massive piece of their land to serve as a sort of duck sanctuary to make sure that there would always be ducks to hunt. If you're ever out there in the fall, take note of the sounds of shotguns going off in the distance. The sanctuary is located right in the middle of prime duck hunting territory, and as soon as they fly out of that space, they're often shot down by hunters. I am so sorry to be the one to deliver this information to you, but seriously, listen for the pops next time you're out there. One last story. Olympic figure skater Patrick Chan once got kicked out of the liquor barn on Cambie Street in Vancouver. I know that it's true because I was right there when it happened. I was there picking up some Hoyne Pilsner when I spotted him kissing with a young lady in the beer aisle. That's not why he got kicked out. I was like, hey, are you Patrick Chan? And it was one of those sort of, yep, I'm Patrick Chan moments where you just do awkward celebrity meeting and you don't know what to say. And I was just like, okay, thanks. And then when I got up to the front counter, he's got a bottle of wine. And he tried to pay for it, but he got ID'd. And he didn't have any ID on him. And he looks really young. So they couldn't sell it to him. Meanwhile, this guy has his own brand of ice wine. He could have grabbed a bottle of it off the shelf and said, hey, I'm Patrick Chan. But he just kind of looked mortified and embarrassed. And the cashier, who was just doing their job, told his girlfriend that if she wanted to buy the alcohol, he would have to leave the store. So he did. And I've been telling this story ever since. And now you know.